today, and we're looking forward to learning from your insights and experience. Please join me in giving warm welcome toคุณ Callum Mackenzie ขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยครับ
Khop and hello everybody, Saudi Krab. Firstly, I need to apologize that I'm working on my Thai, but today I will need to speak in English, so at least you can understand some things that I say. But I'll try to talk slowly so everyone can follow along as well. Okay, so I got asked today to talk about rethinking how health promotion and social entrepreneurship can come together into a new ecosystem, a new impact ecosystem, and to try to think a little bit about how things can be done differently in Thailand. So, as we heard already this morning, the first thing that we need to think about is some of those underlying power structures and capitalism itself. And if we all think about this, and this is quite a challenging statement, right, with this photo and this, that capitalism is not about profit. Capitalism is about free markets, right? It's about the freedom to own property, to own things, to produce things, to exchange things. But we seem to have accepted this idea that capitalism is about maximizing profit. We as individuals have the freedom to decide how we use markets, how we use the production and exchange of value, and for what end. Is it for personal gain or is it for societal gain? So this is just the first thing for you to think about, and we'll have a discussion at the end. So please feel free to argue with me then as well. Now, the second point I would just start to think about then, and thinking about how are we defining entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs in Thailand as well. And when we talk about an ecosystem, because still in a lot of the discussions we have this segmented approach, as Ajahn Siani is talking about. We have our social entrepreneurs, we have our community entrepreneurs, we have micro entrepreneurs. There's also many communities and foundations and associations that are involved in some level of business activity. So this is the next point of how are we actually defining the ecosystem, and how are we bringing different actors together. And I think there's this interesting point, particularly when we look at micro entrepreneurs and community entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs, and how they naturally fit together within a value chain. And social businesses, social enterprises are really natural middlemen, non-extractive middlemen. So how are we bringing together community enterprise and social enterprises together? I think when we also look at this idea of health promotion as well, Thailand has this fantastic asset of village health volunteers and community health centers as well. And again, how are social enterprises connecting, collaborating, and integrating together with this huge infrastructure and ecosystem in the country as well. So I'll share just one example about how at Yunus, Thailand, we are connecting community enterprise and micro entrepreneurs with social enterprise together. And I think also to introduce a framework for social impact as well, of building social impact into the product, into the process, and into the procurement as well. So we identified seaweed, so a specific type, salai kunnok, this is in Satun province, as a great community income generating opportunity, but also a fantastic use for food security and nutrition as well. So we created a social franchising approach, so a kit with weekly trainings, home visits, organized communities, and created both women micro-entrepreneurs and community enterprises in the south to produce seaweed and develop different value-added products. We then created a social enterprise that then helps add even further value to the product and then distribute into high value markets and then reinvest the profits back into the community as well. So here you see two aspects of the impact ecosystem coming together in a very natural and cohesive way. And I'm sure there's many, many other examples. But I think this is the first point in a framework. How are we thinking about these different aspects of defining impact enterprises in Thailand, and how do we build one ecosystem together? Now this is a second point as well on, we often hear about public-private partnerships, but also this topic of public-social partnerships is getting more and more traction as well. And if you can't tell from my accent, I'm from the UK, and in the UK we have something called the Social Value Act, and this has been a very powerful tool. And as you can see here, that 30% of community health services in the UK are now delivered by social enterprises. It's a huge portion. And why and what are some of the benefits of this? Well, the National Health Service in the UK is a huge enterprise, and there was a lot of bureaucracy and slow movement. So they first tried to say, okay, how do we outsource some health services to the private sector? And what happened then, over time, health services started failing because profit maximization was happening in the health system. And profits were being extracted and not invested into social service. So you see two ends of the spectrum, slow moving and extractive business models. If you look at social enterprises delivering health services in the UK, as we see here, 60% are creating new health products and services on a yearly basis. So you see the level of innovation. And in terms of customer feedback, you see that people accessing health services significantly prefer receiving these services from social enterprises over private sector, over government, and also over traditional non-profits as well. So this is something to think about. I'll also give this small example from the UK as well, Navigo. So they actually work in my hometown as well. And they provide, it's a social enterprise, and they are contracted by local government to provide mental health services in the local area. And they've innovated on various different models. But one thing is that they generate profit from this government contract. But what did they do with the profit? They created a second social enterprise to provide employment for people with mental health difficulties as well. And you can see now how this mechanism, this is a garden centre for mental health services. So just one interesting example. In Thailand as well, this is happening in a small way already with NHSO, and we've been working a little bit on this. We worked with the Thailand NGO Coalition for HIV and AIDS, And so we created a social business guide on how to provide HIV screening and testing services in Thailand. And as part of this, then we built the capacity of around 100 NGOs to help them transform into social business models, and importantly, integrate into the reimbursement scheme for HIV testing and screening services. And here there is also another interesting example called the Association for Referral System for Safe Abortion. And here we've been working with them for around 2 years to transition from being an association into a social enterprise. And after 2 years, now they are profitable. And this is also down to they have a business-to-business partnership with safe abortion clinics, and they get funded through taking a portion of the reimbursement that the clinics get from NHSO as well. So there's some traction happening already, but there's a lot more that can be done. I think also a key thing here to mention is that when you invest public funding into the social sector, you strengthen organizations and you enable them to offer many more products and services outside of those contracting as well. So it stimulates the impact economy. So we've talked a little bit about how we're bringing different social entrepreneurs together. We've talked a little bit about how we can use funding to stimulate the impact economy through public contracting. But we also have this question of where are all these social entrepreneurs going to come from as well? And this is where we really need to look at the education system, and not only at the university level, but also at the primary and secondary education level as well. And I think we have this interesting transformation that's happening, which is the education system will increasingly stop teaching knowledge, because with AI, we have so much knowledge at our fingertips. So what is education for? It's for building character. It's for building personalities, and it's for building good citizens, and social entrepreneurship is a fantastic tool for this. We have a huge opportunity here. And I took at the bottom, these are some of the key themes that in the education sector that people are talking about, that people are trying to build into curriculum. And when you look at these 6, 7 themes, you can see how social entrepreneurship is a fantastic proxy, a fantastic way of teaching this as well. So here are just 3 aspects where we're working on this as well, and also how you can get involved as well. The first one is our Waste Hero education program. So we've developed activity-based educational resources from kindergarten through to university level on circular economy topics. But this really gets students trying to design social businesses, taking social business action in their communities. And through this, we've managed to reach more than 1 million students, available in Thai language. We've reached many students in Thailand as well through this. We also have something called the Waste Fiction competition as well, which tries to get young people to imagine what a future could be like with zero waste. And here, if you think, if Elon Musk had never watched Star Wars, he would never have be trying to go to Mars, right? Or created SpaceX. So if we don't have young people imagining what a world free of waste or a zero poverty world looks like, how can we expect them to take action and be bold and brave in this way? We also have a network of youth clubs as well, more than 5,000. And again, this is all around action, taking action. And we have huge network of support organizations as well behind this. And we have our academic network as well. So 115 Yunus centers at universities around the world. We have 5 in Thailand as well. Hopefully more after today as well. And again, I think we can also learn a lot from the fantastic project you are doing here as well and see how we can integrate this together because we are pushing in the same direction. Okay, this is another huge thing that we have to talk about today in Thailand as well, which is around the household debt crisis and the issue of access to finance. Access to finance for micro entrepreneurs, for community enterprises and social entrepreneurs as well. And I think here there's 2.2 trillion baht in informal debt. And when you look at the interest rates that you are seeing around 300%, this is a huge problem. And this is also before compounding interest, right? So often it's more like 3,000% if people are taking one informal loan to pay another. And I think the other point I would mention here as well is that financial inclusion is one of the most powerful health interventions there is. If you don't have access to money, you cannot invest in your own health, you cannot invest in nutrition, and also the stress. People forget this point. When you are living from paycheck to paycheck, when you have very high debt payments and you don't know how to repay them, the stress and the health impact of this is huge as well. And we have one centre in Scotland who does a lot of research on this point, and there's huge health benefits of providing microfinance. But I also want to point to this table here as well, because Thailand is also a very strange country internationally in that there is not really a not-for-profit microfinance sector in this country. There is a lot of very good work done by government institutions. We have one best practice example here in Cody. And we have very large commercial banks and a very developed commercial bank sector. But when you compare to other comparable countries, you do not have not-for-profit private financial institutions. And you can see here in this data here as well. So often you find you have very inclusive products available, but they are at the process level difficult to access when it comes to going to the bank. And on the other side, you might have very inclusive products, loan sharks being the best example of this, but very accessible products, but they are not very inclusive. So this is something to think about. So this is one of our big projects we're working on at the moment to bring Grameen Bank to Thailand. We hope to be operational this year. So Grameen Bank pioneered microfinance in the 1970s in Bangladesh, and it's now been replicated 154 times all around the world, including in Southeast Asia. And I think collectively, it's distributed around $66 billion in microfinance for women, only for the poorest, and only for income generating activities, with a repayment rate of between 96 and 99.9%, and no collateral. But importantly, it's not only microfinance delivery, but it's weekly non-financial services as well, providing capacity building, providing confidence building, providing networks and training as well. So, and this is also comes down to the peer support mechanism as well. So creating peer support groups of 5 and strengthening communities in this way as well. So yeah, maybe I'm about to contradict myself now, because I started off saying that capitalism is not about profit, and now about to talk about the potential of the private sector. But here, again, I think this comes down to how we view corporations as well, and also understanding the difference in corporations. And when we particularly look at corporations that have family-owned structures, there is a huge opportunity to unleash the social entrepreneurs within those businesses as well. And this is just 3 ways that we have worked with the private sector to unlock their social business potential as well. Because they have a lot of expertise, they have a lot of resources as well. So there is a lot of potential within the right structure. So the first one here is social business joint venture company. How can we bring a big corporate and, let's say, a non-profit or a community enterprise or a social enterprise and build a new entity of, let's say, 50% shareholding together, leveraging the corporate's technical expertise, their funding, and the social enterprise's community development expertise as well. So here you see one example. This is a joint venture between Grameen and Intel as well. So Intel, the IT company, designed a bangle, this bracelet, that would give pregnant women notifications on the health of their baby as it goes through the pregnancy period. But of course, there's this other question of how do communities accept this product? How do they understand it? How is it disseminated? And how is it scaled in a health positive way? So this is where the joint venture approach came in between Grameen and Intel. And again, it's a profitable company, but 100% of profits is reinvested back into selling more bangles and providing them at the lowest cost possible. So it's a mission-locked social business. Here is another interesting example from a French company, Danone, where they created their own impact investing fund. But more than that, the employees of the company also get to be involved in choosing which companies, which social businesses they invest in. They can also volunteer their time, and they can also make contributions from the pension fund into the impact investing fund as well. So it's a very highly integrated approach between social business investing and HR retention and employee involvement as well. Again, Danone Communities invests in particularly in nutrition aspects and water access. Thailand is one of their target countries, as well. So if anybody is interested in investment from Danone communities, happy to connect as well. And then this final one here as well. For every $1 spent on CSR, $400 is spent on indirect procurement. So indirect procurement being staff uniforms, food in the canteen, IT services, waste management services, corporate gifts. So it's a huge pool of investment potential. So how do we unlock this? How do we create corporate social procurement strategies and help facilitate the relationship between corporates and social enterprises and communities together? And how do we also help build this into their ESG reporting as well? This is just another example of a joint venture social business called Grameen Danone. So in Bangladesh, there's a huge issue of child malnutrition that leads to night blindness. So Danone, being a yogurt company, they created a yogurt with all the missing micronutrients in one portion. So this is the first thing. They use their dairy expertise to create a social impact product. And you can see the pricing here as well. It's 8 cents for one yogurt as well. So very, very cheap. Now the second bit then was in the process as well. So how could they disseminate the yogurt? So they created micro-entrepreneurship opportunities for the yogurts to be sold from door to door outside schools, and particularly targeting housewives and also youth who are not in employment as well. So the social impact built into the process. And then the final bit was then how could they partner with community enterprises and smallholder farmers who have the dairy farms, so they would buy the milk to make the yogurt from them, which was rather than going to the big dairy farms as well. And again here, the benefits of partnering with a non-profit partner or community partner. You help organize the dairy farmers, you train the young entrepreneurs, you can see you build the social impact model in this as well. So I tried to just provide a bit of a framework here of how the social enterprise ecosystem can come together, how the public sector can play a role in stimulation, how academia and the education sector can build more pipelines, and also how the finance sector, and we can rethink the finance sector in the country, and also engage the private sector in this as well. But here's just a few concrete action points that maybe we can take forward together. How can we think about incubation programs that instead of incubating one business or having a cohort of single businesses, you are incubating partnerships? How you can only apply for an incubator if you are a social enterprise and a community enterprise together. And how do we foster those partnerships? This could really leverage the strengths of both ecosystems. From a public procurement side of things, now we already have one aspect where it's easier for government departments to buy from social enterprises, but they are not mandated, they are not forced to include community impact and social impact in a procurement decision. So in the UK, in the Social Value Act, it is a mandated aspect in all government procurement decisions that they have to think about these factors. And this has stimulated huge amounts of growth in the SE sector. So how can we look at redrafting government regulation on this specific point? It's a big job to create a national social entrepreneurship curriculum and to have that adopted into the formal national curriculum. But how can we have a very easy to adapt curriculum mapped onto the existing Thai national curriculum where teachers can plug in SE into many different topics? You can use SE to teach maths, you can use SE to teach English, you can use SE to teach economics and business, to teach geography, to teach history. There's many different opportunities. So how do we build a curriculum that makes it easy for teachers to teach about social entrepreneurship in Thai public schools? And this is how we did the Waste Hero education process. And then also, how are we working with teacher training schools across the country to embed social entrepreneurship into teacher training as well? Yeah, how do we continue the fantastic work that you're doing, Ajahn Siani, as well, and work collaboratively together to have a national social business, social entrepreneurship academic hub? Every single Thai university should have a social entrepreneurship center or hub. And they should be working on both the teaching, on the incubation, and also on the community development side of things as well. But importantly, how do we facilitate the collaboration and connections between this network as well? This is not a very expensive thing to do, actually. The last one is, how are we also looking at stimulating a not-for-profit financial sector in the country as well, and leveraging blended funds. So blended funds bringing philanthropic money and commercial capital together, and creating a fund of funds. Because there's also a problem where everything is focused in Bangkok, right? So how will you have regional development funds that are promoting social entrepreneurship, micro-entrepreneurship, and integrated with non-financial services capacity building as well? To give you an example, in the UK, we have a dormant account fund. So when a bank account is inactive for 13 years, this money is then taken and used for social investment. And then this money is then leveraged with commercial capital and blended together, and you get 25 times more money that was originally taken. So there's a lot of existing mechanisms here that can be used. And a final one, which is, how are we actually building a social procurement community together as well? Bringing corporates and corporate purchasing teams together to meet social enterprises, to meet community enterprises, and start building and breaking down the bridges between these two groups as well. So we have an event on Monday, if anyone is interested, at Bolan restaurant. Bolan, it's a very fancy restaurant, which we've brought together the purchasing teams of different hotel chains who are then interested in buying from social enterprises as well. So if anybody is interested in joining, please let me know. But I wanted to kind of finish on this point as well, that all humans are born social entrepreneurs. Now, why do I say that? If you listen to a traditional economist, they say we are driven by rational self-interest. But we've all felt the warmth of giving someone a gift, of supporting someone in a time of need, by helping somebody. The excitement we get when we see communities we support grow. We're not only and simply rationally self-interested people, we are also selfless as well. Everybody has part of their personality that gets warmth, excitement and growth from helping other people. What makes humans different from every other species? It's our creativity. We are creative people. So we naturally have born into us this entrepreneurial ability to create things. And so with the right ecosystem, with the right enabling environment, if we can unlock people's quest for purpose and their creative powers, then we don't only look at the social enterprise ecosystem as a subset of the economy. Over time it can grow and it can become the predominant force of how business is done and how impact is achieved in Thailand and elsewhere. So hopefully I'm roughly on time. It'd be fantastic to have some questions, some arguments, some discussions as well, but I'll hand over to our wonderful MC.
Yes, thank you very much. I have to thank you very much, Kun Callum, for your inspiring keynote and valuable insights. Please do allow me to summarize all of the topics that you have already discussed on the stage so that everyone can participate with us. ก็ขออนุญาตนะครับสรุปนิดเดียวครับผมเรื่องถึงเนื้อหาที่คุณคอลัมน์ได้กล่าวไปทั้งหมดนะครับอยากให้ทุกคนได้มีส่วนร่วมกับเนื้อหาทั้งหมดด้วยนะครับเนื่องจากว่าประเด็นแรกเลยครับที่คุณคอลัมน์พูดถึงก็เป็นเรื่องระบบของสังคมเรานะครับที่เป็นเรื่องทุนนิยมนะครับท่านก็คิดว่าทุนนิยมครับเป็นเรื่องของตลาดที่เสรีมากกว่าเรื่องกำไรเพียงอย่างเดียวครับเพราะว่าถ้าทุกคนมุ่งเน้นไปที่เรื่องกำไรเพียงอย่างเดียวเนี่ยสังคมก็คงไม่สามารถเติบโตก้าวไปในอนาคตได้นะครับประเด็นต่อมาที่สำคัญคือเรื่องระบบนิเวศ